Have you ever felt the weight of discouragement, like the world is against you? You are not alone. We all face moments of doubt and despair. Life is full of challenges. But there is hope. The Bible offers timeless lessons on overcoming discouragement. We can find strength in the stories of those who faced their own trials. When life feels overwhelming, and the burdens seem too heavy to bear, remember that you are not the first to walk this path. Many have faced similar struggles and have found a way through. The stories of David, Job, and Paul, for instance, show us that perseverance and faith can lead to triumph. By turning to these ancient texts, we can draw inspiration and courage. Let their experiences guide you, and let their victories remind you that hope is always within reach. Discouragement whispers lies. It tells us to give up, that we are not good enough. It magnifies our problems and diminishes our faith. We start to believe that we are alone, that our struggles are too much to bear.
But these are lies. We must recognize them for what they are.
Elijah was a great prophet. He had seen God's power firsthand. Yet, he faced a moment of deep discouragement. He felt alone and afraid. Hunted by Queen Jezebel, he fled into the wilderness.
Exhausted and defeated, he cried out to God. "I have had enough, Lord," he prayed. "Take my life."
God heard Elijah's cry. He did not condemn him for his weakness. Instead, he sent an angel with food and water. He gave Elijah rest and renewed his strength.
God showed Elijah that he was not alone. He reminded him of his power and his presence. Even in our darkest moments, God is with us.
Joseph also faced incredible hardship. His own brothers, jealous of his favored position, sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused and imprisoned. Yet, through it all, Joseph never lost faith. He clung to God's promises. He believed that God had a plan for his life.
Joseph's unwavering faith did not go unnoticed. God blessed him even in prison. He was eventually freed and rose to a position of power in Egypt. He saved countless lives during a time of famine. Joseph's story reminds us that God can turn our greatest trials into triumphs. Choosing faith over fear.
We all face a choice when discouragement comes. We can give in to despair, or we can choose faith. We can listen to the lies of defeat, or we can listen to the voice of God. My voice speaks truth and hope. I remind you that you are not alone. In moments of darkness, it is easy to feel overwhelmed and lost. But remember, faith is a powerful force that can guide us through the toughest times. It is a beacon of light that shines even in the darkest of nights. When we choose faith, we choose to believe in a future filled with possibilities. We choose to trust in a higher power that has a plan for us, even when we cannot see it. So take a deep breath and let faith be your guide. You are stronger than you think, and with faith you can overcome any obstacle.
Embracing the journey. Life is a journey filled with both mountaintops and valleys. We cannot avoid the valleys, but we can choose how we walk through them. We can walk with faith, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. He will never leave us nor forsake us. The promise of victory. Life is filled with moments of deep discouragement, times when the weight of our struggles feels unbearable. These moments can come from various sources: personal failures, loss of loved ones, financial hardships, or even the relentless pressures of daily life. Each of us, at some point, faces a storm that seems too fierce to weather. But in these moments, we face a choice. How we respond determines the course of our lives. We can either let these challenges break us, or we can rise above them, finding strength we never knew we had. The crossroads of despair and hope is where our true character is forged. While some may surrender to despair, allowing it to consume them, and others may choose to deny their struggles, pretending they don't exist, there is a third path. This path is not easy, but it is the one that leads to true victory. It requires us to confront our fears head-on, to acknowledge our pain, and to seek solutions with a determined heart. The true path to victory lies in facing difficulties with faith, courage, and perseverance. It is about believing in something greater than ourselves, trusting that there is a purpose behind every trial, and knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to overcoming our challenges. Consider the story of Elijah, one of the greatest prophets in history. His life was a testament to the power of faith and the importance of perseverance. Despite witnessing miracles and the undeniable power of God, Elijah was not immune to fear and exhaustion. He had seen the undeniable power of God, yet fear and exhaustion led him to retreat, overwhelmed by despair. He felt isolated and alone, believing that his efforts were in vain and that he was the last of God's prophets. Alone in the wilderness, he prayed to die, believing he had reached the end of his strength. It was in this moment of utter despair that Elijah's faith was truly tested. He felt abandoned and hopeless, yet he still turned to God in his darkest hour. But God did not abandon him. Instead, he provided rest, nourishment, and renewal. God sent an angel to care for Elijah, offering him food and water and encouraging him to rest. This divine intervention was a reminder that even when we feel most alone, we are never truly abandoned. Instead, he provided rest, nourishment, and renewal. Elijah's physical needs were met, allowing him to regain his strength and clarity of mind. This period of rest was crucial for Elijah to continue his journey and fulfill his purpose. Elijah's story reminds us that even in our lowest moments, hope is never lost. It teaches us that when we are at our weakest, God's strength is made perfect in us. We are reminded that there is always a way forward, even when the path seems unclear. In times of hardship, two voices speak to us. One voice is loud and persistent, echoing our fears and doubts. It tells us that we are not strong enough, that our efforts are futile, and that giving up is the only option. One whispers defeat, give up, there's no way forward. This voice thrives on our insecurities and magnifies our failures, making the obstacles before us seem insurmountable. The other, the voice of God, assures us, I am with you. This voice is gentle yet powerful, offering comfort and strength. It reminds us of our worth, our potential, and the divine support that is always available to us. Nothing is impossible for me. When we choose to listen to this voice, we find the courage to face our challenges head-on. We are reminded that with God, all things are possible, and that no obstacle is too great to overcome. Choosing to listen to God's voice transforms despair into determination, fear into faith. It empowers us to take action, to move forward with confidence, and to trust that we are never alone in our struggles. Joseph, another biblical figure, exemplified resilience. His life was marked by betrayal, hardship, and injustice, yet he remained steadfast in his faith. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned unjustly, Joseph faced trials that would break most people. His journey was fraught with pain and uncertainty, yet he never lost sight of his faith. He had every reason to succumb to despair. The weight of his circumstances could have easily led him to give up, to lose hope, and to abandon his faith. Yet he remained faithful, trusting in God's plan. Joseph's unwavering faith and resilience allowed him to rise above his circumstances. He trusted that God had a greater purpose for his life, even when he couldn't see it. Through his trials, he rose to a position of influence, ultimately saving countless lives. Joseph's story is a powerful reminder that our struggles can lead to greater opportunities, and that our faith can turn our trials into triumphs. His story teaches us that God's purpose is always at work, even when circumstances seem hopeless. It reminds us that our faith can sustain us through the darkest times, and that God's plan for us is always unfolding, even when we can't see it. In our own struggles, whether in relationships, careers, or personal hardships, the choice remains the same. We can choose to let our challenges defeat us, or we can choose to rise above them, trusting in God's strength and guidance. We can allow discouragement to defeat us, or we can stand firm, knowing that God's strength is greater than any challenge we face. By leaning on our faith, we find the courage to persevere, to keep moving forward, and to trust that better days are ahead. Like Joseph, we must maintain our relationship with God, resist the temptation to surrender, and take proactive steps to overcome adversity. Our faith is not just a source of comfort but a source of strength and action, and take proactive steps to overcome adversity. This means setting goals, seeking support, and taking concrete actions to improve our situation. It means believing in our ability to overcome and trusting that God is with us every step of the way. When we trust in God's sovereignty, we begin to see setbacks not as defeats, but as stepping stones to greater purpose. Each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, each setback a lesson in resilience. Life's battles are inevitable, but we are not alone in fighting them. We have our faith, our community, and the unwavering support of God to guide us through. The greatest victories come not from avoiding hardship, but from confronting it with unwavering faith. It is through these battles that we discover our true strength and the depth of our faith. Even in the darkest tunnels, God provides the light to guide us forward. This light is our faith, our hope, and the assurance that we are never alone. So stand firm, press on, and trust that no challenge is insurmountable when faced with faith and perseverance. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step towards victory. Victory belongs to those who refuse to give up. It belongs to those who trust in God's plan, who persevere through the darkest times, and who believe in the promise of a brighter future. Section 10, Rise and Stand Firm.
Do not give up. Do not lose heart. The God who sustained Elijah and Joseph is with you too. He is your strength in times of weakness. He is your hope in times of despair. Rise up today with renewed faith and determination. Embrace the journey. Your victory awaits.